everyone, and welcome back to Pennies to Pounds. If you are new here, then thank you for joining us. You're in the right place if you want to learn about your finances, as Pennies to Pounds is the place where we aim to dispel your myths, simplify difficult financial jargon, as well as trying to entertain you as well. As you see by the title of this video, if you are going to university for the first time, or your sister, brother, cousin is, this is the video for you. University is likely going to be the first time that you experience major independence. I went to Coventry University. I moved away from home because I'm from London, and there is a lot to learn, especially when you move away. So I'm going to be giving you my 9 top tips that you need to be a pro with your finances in university whilst having the best time. So tip number 1 is learning how to budget. Now, you may have heard this before from friends and family. You need to understand how to budget money, but that is so true. I learned that the hard way when I first started university. I got my student loan in and I thought, you know what, I'll just kind of spend my money here and there, but I realized the hard way that money does run out, especially if you do not have a plan for that money. If you are someone who's receiving student finance and you are funding your university experience through student finance with your maintenance loan, then it's really important that you plan out that money, because we know it comes every term. What I did is I used a budget spreadsheet. I'll put one up here. We've got one for Pennies to Pounds that you can actually go and download, and I'll plan out my finances for the next 3 to 4 months. So I actually was working in London, so I had to factor in my travel costs, but I also factored in how much I spent on food shop, or if I wanted to go out to parties, how much I set aside for that, because just going in with no plan and just spending willy-nilly is the surefire way to go broke at university. And I know if you're watching this, you do not want to go broke. Number 2 is to make a list when food shopping. When I tell you, this saved my life. When you go to a shop, for example, the one that always gets me sometimes is Primark, you will see when you get to the till barrier that there's always these extra things by the tills, and it's designed because us as humans, we impulse buy. They expect you to pick up things, and that's the exact same way when you go food shopping. If you are someone who has a sweet tooth, when you walk down the sweets aisle, you might just say, oh, I'll put a couple of sweets in there, put some chocolate in there, and before you know it, you have gone over budget and you spent way more than you anticipated. So when you make a list, it will help you to just stick to what you need. And when I tell you that transformed my food shop, I used to spend £40 at the beginning of the year. I'd do a frozen shop, so that would be me buying my frozen meats, frozen chicken, frozen beef, because that's probably going to cost the most amount of money, frozen fish, all of that, and that would be in my freezer. So that would be the more expensive shop that I would do, and then every shop after that would be £10. I was focusing on just buying what I needed. What I'd also do, if you want to go a step further, is I'd sit down and I'd plan my meals for the week. So breakfast, I tend to just have cereal, but lunch and dinner, maybe where I need to actually plan a bit more. So I would make sandwiches during the week because I'd be going into uni and it's easier while I'm on the go and in the library. And then dinner time would be where I want a really substantial meal, because you've been out. Planning out my recipes would mean that I knew exactly what I needed to buy and you can stick to your budget. Tip number 3 is to reduce food waste. Now, this sounds like a no-brainer, but if you actually sit down and you figure out how much you actually waste in food and you actually put that into monetary terms, you would realize, wow, I could actually be saving a lot more money. When I came to university, I froze everything that could be frozen. I bet you didn't know that you could freeze stuff like peppers, onions, even bread. If you're looking to get takeaways and you want to help the environment as well, apps like Too Good To Go are brilliant. Too Good To Go is an app that helps you to essentially help the planet and reduce food waste by going to restaurants and saving food that would otherwise be wasted. I actually went and got one from a Chinese buffet. It was Stepney Green. There was a Chinese buffet that did it for about £2.50. All you do is go on the app, you click to buy a magic bag, that's what it's called, and that's you essentially saving the food waste that would have otherwise gone in the bin. And when I got there, showed them my app, they said okay, they gave me a container, and I went through and just took as much food as I wanted and put it in my container. It was absolutely brilliant. Tip number 4 is to use apps when booking nights out. Now, this is not going to be universal. Obviously, if you are starting uni for the first time, you're going to have something called Freshers Week, which is essentially just a week full of parties. I had the best time. It's created so you can actually mingle and meet other uni students. There are a lot of freshers events that you can book where they offer free tickets before a certain time, where they offer £1 tickets, £2 tickets, and even apps like Fever. If you wanted to go on like bottomless brunch or do activities with your friends, you can actually get them at a discount, and it's even better if you use our code right here. You can actually get £5 off. Trust me, really good. Have a look at that, but also make sure you're getting the best ticket prices for anywhere you want to go. Number 5, so this is more applicable if you're living not in uni accommodations. If you're living somewhere, maybe private accommodation, so you have a landlord and you're living in a house, which I did in 2nd and 3rd year. Usually you don't have bills included, or you may do, but you may have to pay for some bills. So for example, my house that I lived in for 2nd and 3rd year had my rent and bills included, but we had to pay for things like Wi-Fi. It's really important to make sure you get the best best deals on your bills. I'm telling you. I set up the Wi-Fi in my second and third year home, so we already had Virgin Media pre-installed, and my landlord said you might want to call them back up and see if you can get a good deal. I was on the phone for 20 minutes and I managed to haggle us the best deal. I think we were paying something like £12 a month for Wi-Fi. You split that between 4 of us, that's like no money at all. If you're looking online to set up your bills, make sure you use cashback sites like Quidco and Top Cashback. If you don't know what cashback is, I'll put it up here. We've got a video explaining how cashback works and how you can sign up for your own. Cashback is completely free and you literally get cash back on your purchases. Number 6, and a really big one, is to pay yourself first. If you've watched any other personal finance videos, you may have heard this term before. It's to actually put money into savings. So on top of this, I always want to add that it's super important to put aside the money for your rent. So what I used to do is I used to pay for my rent with my uni accommodation every term. So instead of doing monthly, every time I got student finance in, I'd pay for the next 4 months. Just so I knew that the money left over is money that I can now budget for the next 4 months. Number 7 is to get yourself a student bank account. Now I'll be doing a separate video on this for the best student bank accounts that you can get, but this is really, really useful. A lot of them have incentives that you can actually get once you sign up for that particular bank account. Like I said, I'll break it down even more in a separate video for you. Number 8, if you are someone who again moved away from your home city, another big tip is to make sure you have a rail card. And if you're traveling back home and you know in advance that you're going to be traveling back home, book your tickets in advance. Like I mentioned earlier, I used to work in London, though I was in Coventry. I would have to travel back every single weekend. Rail cards are about £30 for the year, but I believe you can get a 3-year rail card for £70. That will save you money. If you live in London and you didn't know, you can also attach your rail card to your Oyster card, and you also get discounts when you're tapping around and traveling around London. It is a literal no-brainer, especially if you have moved away from somewhere like London. Like my entire 3 years at university, I probably saved thousands on travel for using my rail card and booking way in advance. And finally, my 9th tip, which is not very financy but a really important one, so I want to leave it on this, is to make sure that you visit other cities. As a young person, I would encourage you heavily to travel. Now we put a lot of emphasis on travel and often we refer to traveling abroad, but travel within your country, travel within the UK. It is so great. Personally, before moving out of London for university, I'd never been outside London, and then I moved away for uni, moved to Coventry, and then all of a sudden doors had opened for me. I was traveling to Leicester, Nottingham, all these different places, and I was having the best time. So I'd encourage you to visit different cities, even if it's just for a day. It's a good way to see the cities, see the sights, and have a great time. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more, visit our website, follow our Instagram, follow us on Twitter, TikTok, everywhere, and we'll be back again with another video. Make sure you listen to our podcast. There's episodes that you can listen to up here and here. We just have some great gems, so make sure you stay tuned, subscribe, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.